believe it's a bookmark in your order of service. You guys have the italicized parts. But we'll all start out together. They say I am illegal. No, that's my part. But so is anyone who ever rolled through a stop sign, jaywalked, or threw trash in the ground. Not having a visa is a civil infraction, not a federal crime.
They say I am here to take your jobs.
But those jobs are often backbreaking and underpaid, and we are exploited by those who can never find a U.S. citizen to work under such conditions.
They say I bring drugs and crime with me.
But it is U.S. consumers buying the drugs and U.S. weapons in the hands of the desperate.
They say I am here to live off the system.
But I pay taxes too, and yet I live in a shadow economy that denies me the benefits of secure old age and medical care if I get hurt on the job.
They say that English is the only language worth speaking.
But the true heritage of the United States is diversity, and I add my words and my traditions to the culture that enriches us all.
They say I am here just to have my baby.
But can you remember another mother who braved hardship and danger to bring her baby safely into this world? Can you deny Mary or Maria the right to fight for a better life for her child?
They say that you will know I am illegal by my work boots and dusty jeans.
But what about the student who overstays her visa, the artist who cannot marry his American boyfriend, or the grandmother who cares for the baby while the mother works? We may not all wear boots, we may have come from many countries, and yet we are alike.
They say that the more I have, the less you have.
But you are not diminished if I am raised up. Humanity is enriched when we climb together towards the light.
Life is not a zero-sum game.
Thank you.
It says here that I'm supposed to introduce the speaker. I think he just did that. With the possible exception of today's newcomers, everyone knows Mitch James. He's the father of Morgan and Lavender, husband to our resident nightingale, Coriel, and treat him well, he is our treasurer. Mitch has taken us on many mind-boggling adventures, always successfully marrying his topic to our Unitarian Universalism, whether it be Star Wars, Star Trek, or, well, let's see what he has in store for us today as we ask, why do we believe in electrons and not in fairies? Mitch?
Thank you very much. So there's a rumor going around that I found God. I think this is unlikely because I have enough difficulty finding my keys, and there is empirical evidence that they exist. So yes, I join you again today. Thank you very much. I'm representing a sermon I presented a few months ago. One, because I thought I didn't present it very well. It was kind of I pulled it out on short notice and I hadn't had a chance to rehearse it very well. And I think I got a little nervous and spoke a little quickly, so my message may not have gotten across. But I've pulled it back out, edited it a little bit, so it's more in my own voice. And I'll look to the audience for cues if I'm going too fast. Sometimes I may do that when I'm nervous or I just get into the roll of things. So if someone wants to be my too fast, just try to look out there and use me. Okay. But I will get started. So an off-sided argument for religion, specifically faith-based religion, or faith-based religious beliefs, is that we believe in many things that we cannot see. So why not believe in God? A creator God doesn't exist. I'm certain of that, as I'm certain that any unfalsifiable concepts like unicorn, elves, Santa, and other gods, or centaurs for that fact, do not exist. Just because it cannot be disproven that a creator God exists, which is a logical fallacy of proving a negative, doesn't mean that God exists by default. It's the same way with unicorns. Just because I can't prove they don't exist doesn't mean they do. And it's not because atheists don't want God to exist. It isn't an ego thing, and it isn't a hoped-for thing. It's an empirical thing. It's accepting reality and refusing to substitute the hoped for the actual. Faith is willful ignorance. That's all it is. It's belief without evidence, even without reason. People don't believe in God because there is none. It's like being in a philosophy class and you're asked to write a 5-page proof on proving that chair does not exist. Others would go on for 5 pages or more when really the only answer is, what chair? Through science, we can make scientific predictions about the behavior of something, like electrons, in a narrow set of circumstances. And then we can test for those. If we don't get the answer we thought, we either did the experiment wrong, or we made an incorrect assumption. So we go back to the drawing board and we work it out. We have no such abilities vis-a-vis fairies or their whimsical creatures of their ilk. They are bound by union rules. So how can we justify our belief in electrons based on evidence, testable evidence? This is the kind of evidence that we have, say, for evolution, a theory which quite literally evolved over time as we gain new evidence. Intelligent design makes no testable claims. There's simultaneously zero evidence for the idea of an intelligent designer and infinite evidence, depending on your perspective. But there's no way to test the theory. Either it was all designed by an intelligent creator but there was no way to test that theory. Either it was all designed by an intelligent creator to look this way now, or it wasn't. So intelligent design may be true, and one can still believe it on faith. But it is about as far as possible from being science. There's no way to gain testable evidence about it. For example, imagine that you left your house in the morning, a complete mess, after a party last night, the previous weekend. Beds unmade, clothes scattered across the floor, chairs strewn about, the dining table and kitchen filled with dirty dishes and takeaway bags. Now imagine you come home from work or wherever and found the house sparkling clean. You would think to yourself, who came and cleaned my house? Who arranged the furniture? Who made the beds? Now, even though you never saw the person who cleaned your house, would you believe that person existed because of the order in your house? Did the house intelligently clean itself? Because we haven't witnessed it taking place, it still must have happened that way. At the same time, scientists who make definitive claims against the evidence of a designer or a creator or other deity are expressing just as much faith as their opponents. There's no scientific basis to deny the existence of a God. We have ample evidence and theories about the world around us that create such a rich tapestry of knowledge and have proved countless times already to be applicable to practical applications. But none of this is incompatible with the existence of a creator. Now, what's the takeaway from all this? Religion is not a science, and science should not be a religion. Some would-be scientists or defenders of science forget themselves when arguing with the faithful and make claims that they cannot support or that are not good science. That's fine if you're expressing a belief, but to deny, as a scientist, the possibility of the existence of God is to make a religious claim unsubstantiated by any scientific evidence you can muster. Does God exist? I doubt it. But, I can't prove it either way. So I'm just going to try to keep religion out of the science lab. Now, why do we believe in electrons but not fairies? No one has directly observed either electrons or fairies or Harry Potter, for that matter. All of them are theoretical constructs, useful to explain observations that might be otherwise difficult otherwise. The theory of fairies can actually explain more things than the theory of electrons. But why do we believe in electrons and not fairies? This issue a political one, where the electron fans got the upper hand in the 19th century. So by the 20th century, the fairy fans were a scorned and persecuted minority? Or have we just simply proved that fairies do not exist? Well, no to both. The real difference is that for electrons, we've accumulated a set of quite narrow and specific rules about how electrons will behave. Those rules let us make very specific predictions about their behavior and about the observations that will result. And if those predictions don't come true, we know it was either because we didn't set up the circumstances correctly or there was something wrong with the rules. For over decades and decades, scientists have repeatedly fixed problems with the rules, so now they can make really good predictions about electrons, especially in certain highly contrived circumstances. Now, fairies are much more free. And again, some would say it's because they have a better union. A fairy decides what it's going to do. It's got free will. We haven't been able to find any useful rules for predicting how a fairy will act under a certain set of circumstances, or even telling when a fairy has been involved in a particular observation. Their shadows or wisp in the corner of our eyes. Now, over many decades, it has not been possible for people to try out pretty good sets of fairy prediction rules, or to find out where they make mistakes and replace them with better sets of rules, because we cannot test on fairies. Their union just does not allow it. It's always possible that there really are fairies, but the theory of electrons has been far more successful because it makes testable predictions. Because it doesn't make testable predictions, the theory of fairies, although fun, hasn't enjoyed the same process of incremental improvement. So we have light bulbs and microprocessors and the Hadron Collider, all based on electrons and not fairy processors. The scientific method is an amazing procedure for incrementally improving certain kinds of theories. Those that make testable predictions. A theory that doesn't make testable predictions could still be true, but it doesn't participate in the scientific method. And there are people who believe that only the truths are scientific truths, but that's essentially a religious faith on their part. The theory of evolution is a scientific theory because it implies a large number of scientifically testable claims. The specific rules leading to testable predictions have been tested and modified and refined over many decades, roughly as many as the theory of electrons. Simple versions of the rules for evolutions have been tested and refuted long ago, replaced by better, more specific ones, just as they have for electrons. So we are about as confident in the theory of evolution as the theory of electrons. And really, it's not even a theory of electrons or evolutions, it's just evolution and electrons. It's science. There's really no more theory behind them. Now, the theory of intelligent design could be true. The biological world is a marvelous place with truly amazing complexity. The theory of evolution assumes certain random processes for generating mutations, and if intelligent designer could influence those random processes, then perhaps both theories could be true. But the theory of intelligent design does not make testable predictions, just like the theory of fairies. The designer does what he does because he decides to, not because he's governed by a set of rules. Like in Matthew 4, 5, 7. Pause for people to pull out their King James. The quote is, "Then the devil took him to the holy city." So the pretense is, I think it was period in Jesus' life where he was out in the desert for 40 days and for a period of time, and the devil tempted him. So this is where this is taking place. "Then the devil took him to the holy city and had him stand on the highest point of the temple. 'If you are the Son of God,' he said, 'throw yourself down, for it is written, He will command His angels concerning you, and they will lift you up in their hands so that you will not strike your foot against a stone.' And Jesus answered, 'It is also written, do not put the Lord your God to the test.'" So since He created the rules, He can choose to live by them, toss Himself off and get caught by angels, or to ignore them. Say, "Don't test me, I made the rules." When's obviously convenient. The scientific method is an enormous intellectual asset to the human race. All citizens should understand what it can and cannot do. All children should be taught to appreciate it and apply it. It's important. I think they should also understand the Laffer curve and basic economic theory too. But it is important for them to understand why the theory of electrons is a scientific theory, where the theory of fairies is not. Likewise with the theories of evolution and intelligent design. In the debate between evolution and intelligent design, I believe that scientists are missing an important opportunity to educate people about the difference between truth and scientific truth. There's a perfectly reasonable role in society for faith in truths that are not scientifically testable. But we and our children need to understand and respect the difference. Now, atheism is a religion too. While one driver of this controversy comes from people with a fundamental religious agenda, there are scientists on the other side who pursue an essentially religious belief that there is no designer. Occam's razor is a useful piece of practical advice about preferring simpler theories, but it has no more empirical content than the Apostles' Creed. Quotes from leading evolutionary biologists that man is a result of a purposeless and natural process that did not have him in mind. If humankind evolved by Darwinian natural selection, genetic chance, and environmental necessity, not God made the species. Now, these are not scientific conclusions. These are statements of sincere personal belief by authors who doubtlessly feel strongly that their beliefs are consistent with their experience as scientists. But they are essentially statements of faith, and they are out of place in a science class. On the other hand, scientists, in general, are very careful to avoid making religious, including atheist, statements in a scientific context. So teach better science. In our pluralistic society, some people believe in God, or in the absence of any God, both faith-based positions. Well, some people don't know and some people don't care. In our pluralistic society, it's important to teach science without imposing on others one's own religious beliefs, including the belief in the absence of a God. Science education is about teaching the scientific method and about teaching some of the knowledge that the human race has acquired by applying the scientific method. It would be a useful part of a science class to teach a distinction between theories that are scientific because they make testable predictions and other theories that could be true but are not scientific because they don't. Comparing fairies with electrons or comparing evolution with intelligent design should be an opportunity to teach better science. So how does it all end? We all now go out in our backyards, build large hadron colliders to discover for ourselves if electrons are real, or we set up dampening fields in our gardens to catch fairies because we know they love flowers. The dampening field will prevent them from using magic to escape. We can sit and observe them quietly. Both sound fun. I don't know which one sounds best, but it does sound like a fun weekend project. It's hot outside. In closing, I contend that, I'm talking to someone of faith, I contend we're both atheists. I just believe in one fewer God than you. And when you understand why you dismiss all the other gods, you will understand why I dismiss yours. Thank you very much.
If you'd stand now as you're willing and able and join together in the singing of our final hymn, number 159, This Is My Song.
Please join me as we extinguish the chalice for the reading of the West Valley Mission Statement. This church provides a safe place to celebrate diversity, draw inspiration for our lives, foster social and environmental justice, and compassionately support each other in our spiritual searches. It says clothing words, but I did not prepare any. But I still have a few minutes, so again, not again, but let's say that I'm happy that I'm a member of a church where a lay person from the audience can actually come up, prepare a sermon, and speak, and have it well received, I hope, this time. I'll know after a few minutes. I know in Catholic churches and Protestant churches, even bigger mega churches, that's really not an opportunity, where even if somebody has something they really want to say, or a lesson they want to teach at church, there's really no opportunity, unless they want to go out and start their own congregation, for them to stand up in front of a block of people and present that message. So thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for asking me to volunteer, and thank you. Good participation, because you even know speaking, for all for showing up today. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your beautiful Memorial Weekend. I wish I would prefer a sermon closer to that. Was in a service while not a veteran. I do definitely appreciate and value everything that the military does for us. Because when they say war is hell, it's because of the suffering and hardships that the soldier goes through, and not necessarily and their families. So we always want to stop and respect, the effort and the lives that they have to live out on the battlefield, and deal with their families, and the dedication and sacrifice that they provide to us, but even the sacrifice to their fellow soldiers as they're out there side by side, protecting whatever American values that we placed on their task this day. Thank you.
Thank you.